Hello friends, what's up? It's Jamie here. Welcome back to another Fangirl Fridays video. Something that you might not know about me is that I'm half Ecuadorian. My mom is an immigrant from Ecuador. Most of my mom's side of the family is from Ecuador. So for Hispanic Heritage Month, I wanted to share some of my favorite book recommendations by Hispanic and Latine authors. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting with Ordinary Girls, a memoir by Jaquira Diaz. In this memoir, Jaquira Diaz recounts her difficult upbringing as a result of being a product of housing projects in Puerto Rico and Miami Beach, how it was like for her mother to have schizophrenia and how that impacted her and her household, and just how generally her life was consistently upended by violence. Diaz details her struggles as a mixed race person, her experiences with depression and sexual assault, as well as coming to terms with her emerging sexuality, and she reflects on how she emerged from the difficulties and the challenges of her childhood to become the girl that she wanted to be. Jaquira Diaz is such an incredible writer. This is literally one of my favorite memoirs I have ever read. It is up there definitely with Hijab Butch Blues by Lamia H and Dear Sendirin by Akweke Emezi. Like, this book is just so incredibly poignant and poetic, but also very devastating. It gets very, very heavy in this book. It deals with a lot of heavy topics. I'll provide the general trigger warnings for SA and self-harm, but definitely look up like the full trigger warnings list for this book if you intend on reading it, because there's a lot. There's a lot to go through. So just be aware of that before going into this book. But if you look up the trigger warnings list and you feel like you're able to read this book, I absolutely recommend it. Just the way that Jaquira Diaz is able to recount these stories from her life is just so, again, poignant and well written. Next, we have The Wedding Crasher, a romantic comedy by Mia Sosa. This novel follows Solange Pereira, a woman who gets roped into helping out her wedding planner cousin into helping at a wedding for complete strangers. Solange does not know these people, but on the day of the wedding, Solange stumbles upon a scene of the bride to be with a man who is not who is not about to be her husband. So in an effort to prevent the groom, who she has only just met and really doesn't know very well at all, like, she only vaguely knows him because Solange's cousin hit her boyfriend, him and the groom are like best friends. But so she has only just met this guy, but she's like, I have to stop him from making this, what she perceives to be this huge mistake by going through with this wedding with someone who's not committed to him. She crashes the wedding, but it turns out that the groom, Dean Chapman, he was actually banking on this marriage of convenience for a really big promotion that he has been holding out for at work. Because it turns out that Dean might not get put on this assignment that would likely lead to this promotion that he has been holding out for years if he doesn't have a significant other. So now Solange feels terrible for meddling in Dean's life, and she agrees to pose as his girlfriend to save face in front of Dean's lawyer colleagues. I fucking love this book so much. It is so good. My favorite romance novel is The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. That's my favorite romance I've read recently. But The Wedding Crasher, this book is a extremely close runner up. Like, it just literally has everything I could want in a rom-com. It has two leads that are genuinely such good characters. You genuinely are rooting for the both of them. It's fluffy. It's got these really heartwarming, like, very sweet moments. The banter, excellent. It's just so wonderful. It's got great spice. It's the right amount of like cheesy. It tugs on your heartstrings. It's got fake dating, which I realized recently that I actually, oh wow, I'm doing weird things with my hair right now. Um I realized recently that I actually really like the fake dating trope, which I would not have, like, if you had asked me like a while ago, like what like my favorite tropes are, I probably would not have like listed fake dating as one of them, but I actually really do like fake dating because I keep seeking it out. Like, I keep reading books with the fake dating trope and really enjoying them, so I guess I'm a fake dating fan. But I really especially like how they do fake dating in this book. I think it is so good. Mia Sosa does such a good job. Oh my god, I love this book so much. Also, Solange and Dean are such great characters. Their chemistry is just, oh, it's so good. And just individually, they are great characters, but together they complement each other so well and they make so much sense together. Like, it's just, oh my god. And like, especially I want to make it very clear. I love Solange. I love Solange. She is such an incredible character. She is so funny and cool, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I want to be her when I grow up. Like, she is really that girl. But Dean motherfucking Chapman is just the perfect example, like one of the perfect examples of why men in books written by women are just simply so superior. Like, he is so, oh my god, he he is so devoted. Like, he is instantly, I'm so, oh my god, I'm keep bugging on my hair, what the fuck. But he is so, like, instantly he falls in love so quickly with Solange. He like becomes instantly obsessed with her, and it's so, like, in a way that's so sweet and beautiful and endearing, and it's he's so devoted and just like kind and understanding, and it's like, oh my god, he is so wonderful. I love him. He is so great. Yeah, like Dean becomes like obsessed with Solange. I mean that not in like a, not like in a creepy way, like in a genuinely very sweet, like very genuine way of just like how much he like falls for her, and it just makes me so happy for her. I'm like, because she deserves it. Because again, Solange is that girl. Like, she is super smart. She is super funny. Like, Dean can definitely hold his own in like their banter, but she is so funny. I literally love her so much. She has such a good heart. So it's just like to see like her like have this guy who's just like so in love with her and so obsessed with her. I'm just like, you, that is what you deserve. That is literally what you deserve, girl. Oh my god. It's so cute. Oh my gosh. It's just like Dean Chapman, like every time I read like a really good like book boyfriend or like whatever, or just like book partner, a really good like romantic lead, like I'm just like, it just makes my heart just go like, oh, like I love it so much. Because like, as somebody who like, as a lifelong hopeless romantic, it just makes my heart so happy to see people find the love that they deserve. And obviously not everybody wants a romantic relationship, and that is totally okay, totally fine. But for people who do want that, who seek that out, it always just makes me so happy to see people find the people that they deserve. Like, I'm just like, I just, again, for people who desire romantic relationships, I'm like, I hope you find your Dean, or in my case, like, I hope you find your Adam. Like, it's like like, I just love love, okay? Is that a crime? Anyway, if you are looking for a really great, fluffy, sweet, just amazing all around rom-com, I cannot recommend this book enough. Next is You Don't Have a Shot, a YA romance by Raquel Marie. This novel follows Valentina Vale Castillo Green, the captain of her high school soccer team, who, after starting a fight with her longtime nemesis Leticia Ortiz, is stripped of her title and has now jeopardized her chances of playing soccer in college. Vale retreats to her childhood soccer camp for the summer, essentially to lick her wounds, expecting to relax and redeem herself away from her father's intense expectations, only to find out that she and Leticia are going to be co-captaining a team at the soccer camp that has the chance to be playing in front of college scouts. Begrudgingly, with her future and her father's approval on the line, Vale swallows her pride and asks Leticia for her help with improving their rookie soccer team. But what starts as an alliance born out of necessity, it begins to shift into something more than just a mutual love of soccer. Oh my gosh, I really love this book, and I was really worried that I wasn't going to when I first started reading it because Vale kind of sucks in the beginning. Like, if I'm just being honest, like, she is not a good friend. The fight between her and Leticia at the start of the book is completely her fault, and then she wants to get mad about losing her captain position as if it's not the consequences of her own actions. And she should talks her team, the team that she has at the summer camp, and her internal dialogue is also like, ooh, like, I'm like, oh wow. I'm like, you are really saying some things that I'm like, you're saying some very mean things right now. Like, holy shit. But I promise you, getting to see her redemption arc is so worth it. Especially as you like go through the book and you really learn like why Vale is the way that she is and how she gets so many of her bad qualities from like especially her very like hypercritical personality from her father, who her dad, he sucks. He's awful. Like, not even just in the scenes that he's in, but also just like the things that Vale recalls about him. Like, there's this one part, it's very quick. Like, I remember it like it was like one page of like Vale is like recalling how ever since she was a kid, because she's been playing soccer basically her whole life because her father was like a big like super obsessed soccer, like that's like he basically is like made soccer his life, so soccer has also become Vale's life. Not that she doesn't love the game, but her relationship with soccer is very much her unhealthy relationship with soccer is very much due to her father's very intense and rigid expectations of how she should be playing. But basically she talks about how there's been times, like again ever since she was a kid, where I'm pretty sure what she said was like that after her games her father would make her write down a list of, I think, I want to say her opponents, but I also want to say like also the people on her team, like also her teammates, and like write out a list of all of their flaws and like their weaknesses and like just like picking them apart. And it's like, holy shit. It's like, it's no wonder why Vale turned out to be so as hypercritical as she is. But so to see how Vale is able to break away from this, to really see that this is such a harmful way of thinking, and that it's not just impacting like her relationships with her friends and like her teammates, but it's also just like weighing on her so much because she's so critical of herself, and how again she's able to break away from it and forge really meaningful connections with people who she would not have connected with otherwise, and also develop a much healthier relationship with soccer, and like relearn and like rediscover her love for the game again. Like, it is really genuinely such a beautiful thing to witness. Also, this book is super fucking queer and it is glorious. Almost everyone like at this like soccer summer camp is like really gay, like really trans, and it is fantastic. And that's just another reason why you should absolutely read this book. It is so good. Highly recommend it. Next, we have Clap When You Land, a YA novel by Elizabeth Acevedo. This novel follows Yahira and Camino, two teenage girls from New York City and the Dominican Republic, respectively, who are drawn together after a deadly plane crash reveals that they share a now deceased father. This book, oh my god, it broke my heart, man, especially because I have a really close relationship with my dad. Like, I love my dad. My dad is one of my favorite people in the world, and just like reading this book, I was experiencing like premature grief, which I'm pretty sure there's like a term for that, but I don't know it off the top of my head. But so like reading it, like I was just again feeling this premature like sadness and like grief, even though my dad is thankfully very much alive. And it just makes me really emotional to think about like about losing my dad. So this book made me this book really hit me really in my feelings. This book was also just such a perfect use of dual POV. And from what I know, I'm pretty, and I could be misremembering this or just like heard it wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Elizabeth Acevedo wasn't originally gonna have the dual POV, but I'm so glad that she changed her mind, because getting to see Yahira and Camino's perspectives about their father, who both of them had a incredibly close relationship with, who they both loved so dearly, like separately, and now that they've had their worlds rocked, one because of his passing and the way that he died, but also because of this revelation that their father had these two families that he kept separate and that he kept secret from the two of them. And seeing how Yahira and Camino process the loss and this new information that each other exists, the shock, the grief, the anger, the skepticism, the awkwardness, that they as sisters are kind of what is left of their father. Like they've just lost their father, but now gained these like new like pieces of him in a way, like, and just that Elizabeth Acevedo is able to balance and convey all of these complicated emotions so beautifully. I've read a lot of books with grief being a central theme and a central topic, but none that have really tackled it in this way. And so I really cannot recommend it enough. And finally, we have Family Lore, an adult magical realism novel, also by Elizabeth Acevedo. Family Lore follows the women of the Marte family, a Dominican American family that possesses special gifts. Each of the women in this family have their own unique ability, but the gift that is at like the forefront of this novel is Flor's gift. Flor is one of the eldest women in the family, and she has the ability to predict to the day when someone will die. So when Flor decides that she wants a living wake, this big party to bring together her family and her community to essentially celebrate the life that she has lived, her sisters are, and just her family at large, are surprised and concerned. They don't know if Flor has foreseen her own death or if she has predicted someone else's death, because she won't tell anyone anything else besides like, I want this living wake and here are the things I want for the living wake, but other like what, like why she's having it, she won't tell her sisters, not her daughter, not anyone. The novel spans the 3 days prior to Flor's living wake, taking us through the lives of each of the Marte women, weaving through the past and the present, revealing their secrets, depicting the family's journey through their history, and preparing them for what is to come. This book is an intimate depiction of sister relationships, mother-daughter relationships, womanhood, sexuality, with this particular focus on middle-aged and older women. All the women in this book, all the women in the Marte family are older, and I think that is so cool because I feel like these themes aren't always explored in regards to older women in the way that Elizabeth Acevedo has done. If you couldn't tell from when I was talking about Clap When You Land, I think that Elizabeth Acevedo is such an incredible writer. I was actually side note, first exposed to Elizabeth Acevedo's writing, or more her spoken word, when I was taking this last semester when I was at Purchase my African American art history class. My professor pulled up a spoken word performance that Elizabeth Acevedo had done, and so that made me very excited to read her books. And I, rest assured, have not been disappointed. She is a phenomenal writer, and in this book in particular, I think it is so cool how she is able to capture the unique voices of each of these women and make them feel so distinct. In like, it's just so cool how she has done that, like, because I feel like it must have, like, you really go through all these different women and their stories and their perspectives, and you really get to like see them all as like very distinct characters, which is so well done. And I just, wow, like, it's so good. Like, Elizabeth Acevedo, she is so good. It's like, wow. And hearing it was so cool too, because I actually listened to the audiobook of Family Lore, and I highly recommend it. Okay, very quickly before I wrap up this video, I wanted to go through my TBR of Hispanic and Latine authored books. So starting with The Worst Best Man and Son of a Beach, these are both romances by Mia Sosa. Well, the worst the Worst Best Man is a novel, and I believe that Son of a Beach is a novella. I'm very, very excited to read both of these because after, obviously, I love The Wedding Crasher so much. So now I just, the only naturally I just have to read every single thing that Mia Sosa has ever written ever now. That's the only logical next step. So I'm very excited to read these, especially The Worst Best Man, because it's essentially a companion novel to The Wedding Crasher because it follows Solange's cousin and her man, which makes me super, super excited. Next, we have The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. This is a YA romance by Sonora Reyes that has been on my TBR for forever. I mean, just like, I feel like the title speaks for itself. And while I personally did not attend Catholic school, I was raised Catholic and I am queer. So I feel like I will find some things to relate to with this book. And I've just heard so many good things about it. I am so, so excited to read it. Next is This Is Me Trying. This is another book by Raquel Marie. From what I know, it's also YA, but it's a lot darker than You Don't Have a Shot. It deals with suicide and grief and mental illness and forgiveness and love. And because I really enjoy Raquel Marie's writing style, I'm very interested in reading this, but I'm also very aware that it's a very different vibe from You Don't Have a Shot. Next, we have, I'm unsure if it's Ander or Onder. I'm gonna go with Onder. Absolutely feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But so Onder and Santi Were Here. This is a YA romance by Johnny Garzavilla that has been on my radar for the last year. Every time I go to Barnes & Noble, I always see it, and I'm very interested in reading it. I really look forward to reading it as well. And finally, I don't have any specific titles listed here, but I'm definitely really interested in reading more of Elizabeth Acevedo's books. I know that there's quite a few, and so I just need to figure out which one I want to start with, but rest assured, in like the next couple months, I will definitely be reading some more Elizabeth Acevedo. Alright, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so, so much for watching. If you guys have any book recommendations by any Hispanic or Latina authors, definitely leave those down below in the comments, especially if you guys have any recs by Ecuadorian authors. I would really, really appreciate those. Once again, that is all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so, so much for watching. I upload Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, except when I don't. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.